Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, and we finally made it to the end of our Best of the Rest series, talking about all the cards and shadows over Innistrad that we didn't cover individually. It's been a long road. If you missed any of the previous episodes covering white, blue, black, and/or red, you can start right here with white, super easy. Anyways, it's time to talk green cards. If you enjoy these videos and want more of them in the future, make sure to hit that like button, helps out a lot. Autumnal Gloom is 3 mana for an enchantment. You can pay 1 black and put the top card of your library into your graveyard. At the beginning of your end step, if you have Delirium, transform it into Ancient of the Equinox, a 4/4 tree folk with trample and hexproof. Wow, the flavor on this card is a home run. Golgari colors representing life and death. You mill yourself, enable Delirium, and life is reborn into this crazy awesome ancient that will wreck House Unlimited. If you have a bunch of Delirium cards, this is pretty sick enabler. If not, it's alright. That Tree Folk, though, might be worth the investment. Hexproof is powerful. Byway Courier is 3 mana for a 3/2 human scout. When it dies, investigate. 3 mana 3/2s in limited are always fine. This is no exception. It's nice that it gives you a way to replace it in your hand down the road after it dies. Fairly costed, fair power and toughness, fair ability. I like it. Confront the Unknown is 1 green mana for an instant. Investigate, then target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each clue you control. This is great. This is exactly what you want in an aggressive deck. Even if the buff is only +1/+1, you get to draw a card later on. I mean, sure, it doesn't have the innate power of giant growth, but what does? At least this replaces itself. Perfectly adequate combat trick. I approve. Crawling Sensation is 3 mana for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 insect token onto the battlefield. You gotta be kidding me. Get Rog Monsters freaking out. Titania players are all having a perpetual nosebleed. Amazing card for a commander. Probably a bit too clunky for a limited, but man, this is clearly meant for EDH. Nice. Cryptolith Rite is 2 mana for an enchantment. Creatures you control have the ability to tap and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. How in the world was this card not individually spoiled earlier? This thing's crazy. It means your Eldrazi Scions can tap for mana, and then you can sack them for even more mana. That's hilarious. Beyond that, I mean, this is a fair Earthcraft, let's be honest. I expect this in most any green creature-based commander strategy. Probably something like a Marith or token producers like Gave or Tristani. Regardless, the Rite is a strong card that was weirdly buried in the mass release of everything. It's peculiar. Call of the Waxing Moon is 5 mana for a 5/4 human shaman. Whenever a permanent you control transforms into a non-human creature, put a 2/2 wolf token onto the battlefield. Real big fan of this card. A 5 mana 5/4 isn't half bad, but the ability actually makes it okay when your werewolves transform back into their weaker selves. It gives you more opportunities to get more wolves. Lots of value here, I like it. Fork in the Road is 2 mana for a sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and reveal them. Put 1 into your hand and the other into your graveyard. This is a pretty sweet common. You get to mana fix a little bit and you get 1 step closer to enabling Delirium. Real 2-for-1 situation going on here. Plus you are thinning 2 lands out of your deck. That's nothing to scoff at. Fork in the Road is probably better than players are giving it credit for in both limited and constructed. Ramp decks might want this, so think on it. Grav Mole is 3 mana for a 2/4 Mole Beast. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, you gain 3 life. Yeah, this is the most unassuming first pickable card in limited I've seen in a while. 3 mana for a 2/4 is already sweet, but that incidental life gain is a huge upside. Giant butt and a trigger that takes no maintenance? Yes, please, this is good stuff. 3 life on every clue? Wow. Hermit of the Nattermos is 3 mana for a 2/3 human werewolf. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, draw a card. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform it into Lone Wolf of the Nattermos, a 3/5 werewolf. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, draw 2 cards. Oh wow, I did not expect this kind of power out of an uncommon. What's nice is that you get at least 1 trigger off of your opponent using a removal spell on this on your turn. If they don't, flipping this could be devastating. Think about it, they prevent you from flipping, but then you draw cards. They let you flip, but then they have to let you draw even more to bring it back to a 2/3. High pick and limited for sure. Would be sweet in a werewolf deck against a control strategy. Intrepid Provisioner is 4 mana for a 3/3 human scout with trample. When it enters the battlefield, another target human you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If you have enough other humans, this is a perfectly fine card. If you don't, I mean, it's a 3/3 for 4. What made Yeva's Force Mage good was that it could target any creature. This gains significant value if your deck is full of humans. That's all there is to that. Kessig Direswine is 4 of anything and 2 green for a 6/6 boar horror with trample as long as you have Delirium. 6 mana for a 6/6 with upside? Sure, why not? 6 mana 6/6s work for me, especially in a limited format full of 1/1 tokens, 2/2 tokens, and weirdly a lot of 3/1 and 3/2 creatures. Yeah, swine works. Lambhold Pacifist is 2 mana for a 3/3 human shaman werewolf. It can't attack unless you control a creature with power 4 or greater. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform it into Lambhold Butcher, a 4/4 werewolf. If this was actually a 2 mana 3/3 defender, I'd be less excited, but since it will eventually be able to attack and even transform into a 4/4 itself, I like it a lot. Early game of 3/3 will stem the bleeding, and all you need is 1 more power on the Pacifist itself and it can attack. You're also playing a green deck. What are the chances you won't have a 4-power creature in the next 2 to 3 turns after you play this? The card's fine. Not the strongest werewolf in common we've seen, but it's playable. Loam Dryad is 1 green mana for a 1/2 Dryad Horror. Haven't seen that one before. You can tap it and an untapped creature you control to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This is technically a ram spell if you have another creature to use its ability with. The fixing is kinda nice. Holdout Settlement was always pretty convenient. There's only so much you can expect from a 1-drop, but this is sufficient. It does what it should well. If you're in a deck that's maybe pushing another color or has a high curve, it could be playable. Moldgraph Scavenger is 2 mana for a 0/4 fungus that gets +3/+0 if you have Delirium. Wow, talk about value through the long game. This drops really early to block basically anything, for toughness is a lot on turn 2. Then once you get your graveyard shenanigans going, you have a 3/4 on the field. That's a quality common. This is going to make a great mid-pack pick for any deck that isn't bash your head against the table aggressive. Moonlight Hunt is 2 mana for an instant. Choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control that's a wolf or a werewolf deals damage equal to its power to that creature. Werewolf removal? Okay. There have to be a bunch of werewolf pieces in the next set for this deck, right? I mean, come on. Moonlight Hunt is 2 mana, instant speed, for legitimate removal. That's just plain good. If you're running anything even remotely close to a werewolf deck, you're going to want this. 100% going to want it. It's a great card. Rabid Bite is 2 mana for a sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. I mean, as long as you have a creature, this is a great removal spell, even at sorcery speed. It's a bit better than Unnatural Aggression in that the other creature doesn't get to fight you back, so you can second main phase this to finish something off. But yeah, pretty straightforward. You have a lot of creatures. One of these will probably find its way into your deck. Root Out is 3 mana for a sorcery. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Investigate. This really hurts being a sorcery. Like, it really hurts. Investigate is a great add-on to a higher cost Naturalize, but I just can't get past the sorcery speed. I can't do it. Sorry. Seasons Past is 4 of anything and 2 green for a sorcery. Return any number of cards with different converted mana costs from your graveyard to your hand. Put Seasons Past on the bottom of its owner's library. As soon as I saw this card, it reminded me of Praetor's Council, but not as ridiculously outrageous. There is one important aspect of this card I want to focus on, though. You don't have to exile it. You get to tuck it back into your library. That's huge. Just put this in Maelstrom Wanderer forever and Cascade for the rest of your life. So gross. Commander staple, giant dumb green mythic. It's classic. Solitary Hunter is 4 mana for a 3/4 human warrior werewolf. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform it into one of the pack, a 5/6 werewolf. He goes from being alone to being part of a family. It's a better love story than Twilight. Anyways, the card's fine. A 3/4 for 4 is fine. Becoming a 5/6 makes it one of the biggest creatures in the set, so that's a good thing at least. Again, it's a decent card. Ulverwald Hydra is 4 of anything and 2 green for a Star Hydra with reach. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Before you crap all over this card, stop being so entitled and realize this isn't meant for standard. That last ability, it doesn't say basic land, it says land, any land. Say hello to Commander, exactly where it belongs. This is a bomb card there. Sure, it's no Primeval Titan, but that stupid thing is banned for a reason. Being able to grab a non-basic land is always valuable, and that's no different here. The Hydra won't be a chase mythic or anything, but it sure as heck will see play in Limited and Commander. Good stuff. Veteran Cathar is 2 mana for a 2/2 human soldier. You can pay 3 of anything and 1 white, and target human gains double strike until end of turn. It's an interesting card. The cycle they're doing reminds me of the Invoker cycle. Find early game body that leads into some real power late game. Double strike is nothing to mess with, and if you have some humans with decent power, this is going to do some damage. There's inevitability here for sure. I like it. Weirding Wood is 3 mana for an enchant land aura. When it enters the battlefield, investigate. Enchant land has tap, add 2 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. Normally I don't like taking these kind of spells in limited, but this one is a ton of ramp and it gives you a clue. Weirding Wood is fantastic. You get to color fix, dig deeper into your deck, great for 3 mana. This is going to be an early pick in limited for sure. The flexibility here is what makes it so good. Any deck would want this. It's serious ramping. And with that ends our Best of the Rest series. What do you think of the rest of the green cards in the set? Gotta say, looking way better than Battle for Zendikar block overall. I think there are some seriously strong werewolves, more removal spells than I'm used to, and enough big dumb creatures to make me feel safe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Shadows over Innistrad spoiler information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. For some reason, I'm all into green cards right now. Figure that out. Anywho, a green card I really like that is definitely undervalued right now, Worldbreaker. $7. Yeah, 7. Go buy Worldbreakers. We're talking about the top of the new Eldrazi ramp curve. Not your speed? Sylvan Advocate. Right now, $4.50. Another card I think is undervalued. You want them? Now is the time to buy. Click the links, help the channel. Yay for everyone.